although in certain areas they use the Jolok system as their spoken language, sometimes you see the order of the word is also mistaken, because that could happen, and that's what we have to be careful. One example is the Mustang region in Nepal. Everyone used to say it's Mustang, but there are also the Tibetan culture, the communities, and in the Tibetan region, the name of the region is the Mentang. This is because of Samantang. And so later the order of the word seems like twisted a little bit. So it's ended up being Mustang. Mentang meaning the field of medicine. And I also wanted to mention that I met my fellow speaker, Mr. Dawalotu, who's from Amdo yesterday. Initially, we had a difficult understanding because of the different dialect. And then this morning, when I listened with more kind of the idea of Jolo system and listen closely and see, how the formation of the sound is related to word, and then of course I started gaining better understanding. And I must say that I'm excited because this morning when we were talking, I had a much better understanding, his dialect, because I try to conceptualize the Jolo system as I hear the word.
아니 제대로 줄어디 그러다 다른 커뮤니티 당구디 디지털 바다 왔으니 자주요 다 고디 가면나베 부디 바디게 간다 와차도 바디 규민이야 강이 쓰면 왔으니 먼저 샤워 라와 고와 왕 계속 한가 봐주고 알바 봐리디 왔을까 이 혼자서 단다스미 대양 헤디디 와디 치만다 자만다 샤리디 이게 고즈 대상으로 담배 고즈 대양 레로브지 심이 제가 다른 이 샴보에 따라 안다 그냥 이 심을 되게 커뮤니티는 되게 신기해 좋습니다.
And another observation that I had this morning while I was talking with Mr. Dawalotu was the pronunciation of the Tibetan syllables pa. In Central Tibet it's pa, in Amdo it's wa, but it's still right as the pa syllables. And when you pay attention to this particular word, even in Central Tibet, in some cases we pronounce the pa as a wa as well. For example, we say shawa for deer, although we write as a pa, but we pronounce wa. And when you talk about the religious initiation, the actual main root syllable is pa, but we still pronounce as a wa. And so we have that, the sound system in Central Tibet. And when you pay that attention, and the hearing pa as a wa is nothing strange for a Central Tibetan dialect speaker, because we have that as well.
라다모리 저로디 하고 있다. 하고야 하고 디나는 양지 뒤로 밖에는 라다가 뒤에 하고.
And when you look at the dialect in Ladakh, when you use the Jolo system, and if you try to read to a Ladakhi, they would understand. But if you use the Jolo system, the abbreviated system, they wouldn't understand the word. So it's clear that even in Ladakh, they use the Jolo system.
어디 야는 그림은 뭐 니금도 디디하고 제가 제는 미지 아니 저로도 그 개주디 디동 님한테 수와 균주 지금 용을 못 봐. 그 간제 이게 저로 지금 뒤끝나면 뒤인산대 준주진이 강인세나 뒤미 당부 소유남 인산대 준주진이 유무마로 세상 뒤미남 그렇고 대신시점은 야간 말로서 sample 누가 보대려죠.
So my final, I think, a comment regarding the common language is if we use the Jolo system for common pronunciation, then you may face less criticism because we are not advocating for a revolution or change. We are simply saying there is a rule already in place and let's use it. And from that point of view, one may kind of receive less criticism for creating or changing. So that's my final argument. And the reason is that the Jolo system is created by Tumi Sambuddha, who developed the Tibetan scripture, and thus everyone already accepted. And so that's nothing new for us. And if there is any main problem with the Jolo system, it already, I think, it should have taken care of, because this system has been there for many years. And as a result, you have less risk of, adventuring to a new territory. And for that reason, I wanted to say the Jolo system would be a good basis for a common pronunciation. And so I wanted to say finally, from my experience this morning as well as my other findings, is if we start using the Jolo system for our common language, this may be a very good case, because it kind of travels from border to border, from south to west, east to west, north. Everyone's already have been using these for many centuries, and if we revive it, it may be good for a common language. So I wanted to stop here in case you have questions. Sorry for being such a short presentation.
Any questions?
Geshe Nornang, that's the Giko Jolo that the local Yadishkawan. So, that the Ngay in the Turkey, Toria, and the subject was the American look teachers and Chinson. Teaching the Handle have been heard Naloria and the Dulo, the Jolo Toria. Yet, the Dulo and the Gedenchim and also reading a lesson to him. Isla that the Jolo, the Yamoyo Scana, the Inia, the Harrison, Kojiki, Nato. 비리야 그래서 고전 순당 근데 도전시 되게 유명거리야 듀로도 유명이나 그래서 그 자세부 통해야지 뒤 그래서는 도전이는 도전인보다 고전이는 고전인보 세우지 도전 믹스에다는 도전실이야 그 세우지 통도들이 편도 정면 그래서 단대디 시송 체에는 맨날 단도직이 아무리가 있는 지계카라야 상호 진교기 예측이
Thank you, Geshe, for your comments on the thank you. I also have been teaching Tibetan in America over 10 years, and I have some reflections regarding the Jolok and Dulo. And I wanted to say, for a lot of the Tibetan students, it's easier to teach Dulo. And also my observation, when Tibetan word has a lot of stacking words, like the super stacking and the lower stackings, the yada rada and also dogen. the guajian, and when you do look with a clear sound, you are able to pronounce these distinctively.
他第三就是选择恰像脾气嘛老白个了呀，这个的教育面的好工作，看下这个他这东不接说过就是，可是这你不如老白个了老当接行就是，这刚才这当是现在，大那个就杨家爬逻辑，但是就讲逻辑当前，台湾人用操修去，真的巴拉达扎是那个巴拉达就是巴拉亚达就是巴拉达扎是那个那扎给扎去了，但一定要提醒我都讲逻辑去呢，巴拉是老的吧？哦，巴拉是老的呢，像巴达拉几个有呢？ Kandeslov wina, Paraslov, Bada, Rayuna, Paraslov, Bada Rada Yune, Paraslov. Teacher would Kadilia, Shisha Bore, Kandis Chubure. So the teacher didn't know how she was. But Barada Dras, not Dras, the people Dras Kashe, Tara the Diary, Kara the Diary, Bara the Dasumi Yama. They need to give you something in the single. They let other more than dishes on Chimina. Oh, Paraslov, Bada Rada, Yamure, Radi. 독재네 야나 바다 라스 바라스테 바다 디보르데 츠투스케 바라스케레 오메냐 바라스로 지금 지금 바르도스로 바라스로 바라스로 이게 되게 순
바라 이모도 책지 샤브 바라
책책이 셔도
책이 유네 뒤에 바라에 디부 이기나네 때 사베 부디 책지 유사 이 로바로
Okay, yeah. So we mentioned about my case for Dulo. If you know that many younger Tibetan generations, for them learning Tibetan is a daunting challenge. One of the frequently reported problems for the new Tibetan language student is how to pause between words, how to stop between the syllabus and word. There's already a problem because of the current system. And then if we bring this Jolo system into this, it will create a further problem. I wanted to give one example. The Tibetan word parada, and then the Tibetan word parapa. In first one, the pa and the rada is the lower start. And in second case, the ra is the suffix. But when you, according to the Jolo system, you would still read them as same, para, in first cases. In the Dulo is a ja. In the second cases, the Tibetan Dulo would say par, but when you do the Jolo system, it would also say para. So how would you distinguish between the suffix in lower stacking in terms of employing this Jolo system? And then Geshe quickly replied saying, well, if you use this tag or the dot between the word, then you can easily see the difference in the writing.
Thank you. You enumerated or you listed many advantages. I don't see that many disadvantages to using the Jorlog. Like in my pocket I have a cell phone, and if you weren't familiar with the spelling, you wouldn't know if I was talking about a CELL phone, an SELL phone, or a Spanish salt phone. So the Jorlog, could never do anything in Tibetan without the Jorlog. My teacher over there, I have to ask all the time how you spell it, and the Jorlog is indispensable. I cannot see, and I hope you will tell me what the disadvantage of using the Jorlog is. Thank you.
Geshe tingi Jolo ki kezem ngu su. Am Quran ne tan di din no la pra chi de ba jing de yesu. Am Quran ne tan di da pyoge jan ba ge ya ane chi Jolo ye bi ne je ta ku du su Jolo da de yin jin ji guya ni de do su ko ha de ne chi yin zhu de de xin ne zhang ma de ngu ba da li ne da da. Zai ne Jolo gu gyun pa de ye tan de bu Jolo gu kezem mu chi gyun je ko mu su. Yan Jolo gu yan chi gyun ti de de su no na.
절로 절로 코는 제가도 경계 통로. 나한테 절로 예배 어디 대진은 이게 지금 지금 냐보다 스타일은 하고 와. 그리고 지금 마냥은 예전 대신 제대로 모두 시작했는데.
And I don't see any other major disadvantage for Jola system. The only disadvantage would be if there is already missing word in the spelling. And then when you do when the spelling is already mistaken, and when you try to use the Jola system, then it will produce a different meaning. So you have to pay close attention for the spelling. Otherwise, I don't see any problem so far.
그런데 매지스니 쓰고 매지 아니 무슨 매지스 가래 내가 매지스 때 들어 거라 쉬는 가지고 매지스는
For example, I wanted to share this with you. I heard this system of MIDI. So MIDI is actually when I'm saying it as the abbreviated pronunciation. And can you make a sense? What is MIDI when I say MIDI? By hearing this word MIDI, can you understand what I'm talking about? This is a name of animal. Word for animal, MIDI.
다저 님은 제가 마야던 이야기 보시. 니지. 마야던 이야기 보니.
마야던 이야기 보니. 치 근데
제목으로 살아다 가서 미지 세원.
미지 제목이야. 이 조로는 근데 슬로.
내가 조로제는 제가 미지 세나. 좋아 미지. 단 카지기 밑들이 밑들이 밑에 다라다 갈래서 그래 밑에
So you see, the Tibetan word for midi, when you just hear the word midi, it doesn't make any sense. And then the Jola system is the midori. Mi is a human, che is a it's a species of bear. Among the Tibetan brown bear species, there's one sub-species called miti or miriti.
나디 네 양양 그거니 건담네 기위 양만이 야지스고 야지 지고만 담아대.
So if you look at the history of this miti, and in the classical Tibetan word, when we say person, me, there's always the yada, the substacking ya, referring to a person. So me is like mia in Tibetan. And gradually we lost that ya. So we lost the ya in general, referring to person. We only say ma rather than maya. And then gradually we lost the vowel, the first vowel. And so it's become ya rather than yate, yate. Just yate. So this is the origin of the word for yeti. This is very well-known Bigfoot in Himalayas. And Tibetan word for is the miti. And gradually we lost the ya and the first vowel, and that became yeti.
어디서 다 문이야 이거.
And you find money of this terminology if you investigate with this system.
힘들었습니다.
And we'll stop here. Thank you.